Humanity's one-word response to the Council's tribute demand stuns the galaxy. The massive ships appeared without warning above Earth's orbital stations. They were huge, each one the size of a small city. Their hulls gleamed with strange metals that humans had never seen before. There were hundreds of them, blocking out the stars. Maria Santos stood in the emergency command center deep beneath Geneva. She watched the screens showing the alien fleet. Her hands were steady, but her heart raced. She had reported from war zones for 15 years before becoming Secretary General. She had seen terrible things, but nothing like this. "They're broadcasting on all channels," said the communications officer. His voice shook slightly. "Every radio, every television, every computer on Earth and all our colonies." Maria nodded. "Put it on screen." The image that appeared made several people in the room gasp. The being was like nothing from Earth. Its body seemed made of purple crystal, geometric and sharp. Light pulsed inside it like a heartbeat. When it spoke, the voice came from everywhere at once. "I am Velquin, Speaker of the Galactic Council. We have ruled the stars for 3,000 years. 47 species bow before us. Now it is your turn." The crystal being's form shifted, becoming larger, more imposing. Behind it, Maria could see a massive chamber filled with other aliens. Some looked like insects, others were covered in scales or fur. Some were just clouds of gas contained in force fields. 15 years ago, you humans discovered faster-than-light travel," Velquin continued. "You entered our galaxy without permission, without tribute, without respect. This ends today." Maria felt Admiral James Chen move beside her. He was a tall man with gray hair and sharp eyes. He commanded Earth's entire defense fleet, all 400 ships. "This is bigger than I thought," Chen whispered. "Those ships, each one could destroy a city." Velquin's message continued. "The tributary accords are ancient law. Every species that travels the stars must pay 30% of all you produce, 30% of your soldiers, all your new technology. In return, we allow you to exist. We protect you from threats. We grant you the honor of galactic citizenship." The crystal being paused. The light inside it pulsed faster. "But you humans have ignored this law. You have built colonies. You have traded with minor species without our approval. You have acted as if you are our equals. You are not. You are children playing with fire." "And now the bill comes due?" Numbers appeared on the screen. Maria felt sick looking at them. 15 years of back tribute. The amount would destroy Earth's economy. Every colony would become poor overnight. Millions would lose their jobs. Billions would suffer. "You have 72 hours to respond," Velquin said. "Accept these terms. Surrender your defense fleet. Allow our governors to take control of your worlds. Or face the consequences. No species has ever refused us. Do not be the first to die trying." The transmission ended. The command center erupted in chaos. Everyone started talking at once. Some people were crying. Others were angry. A few just stared at the screens in shock. Maria raised her hand. Silence fell gradually. "Admiral Chen, what are our military options?" Chen pulled up tactical displays. "Against that fleet? None. They have us surrounded. Their weapons technology is centuries ahead of ours. If they attack, Earth falls in hours. Maybe days if we're lucky. Can we evacuate? Some people maybe. But where would they go? The Council controls all inhabited space. We'd just be running to another cage." Maria looked around the room at her advisors, her cabinet members, the military commanders. She saw fear in their eyes, but also something else, defiance. Humans had faced extinction before. Ice ages, plagues, nuclear weapons. They had survived. "What about negotiation?" asked the foreign minister. "Maybe we can get better terms." "They didn't come here to negotiate," Maria said quietly. "They came here to make an example of us, to show the galaxy what happens when you defy the Council." A junior officer spoke up hesitantly. "Ma'am, I've been reviewing the data we collected on galactic politics. The Council, they're not as strong as they seem. Several member species are restless. There are rumors of rebellion. The tribute system is unpopular." "How unpopular?" Maria asked. "Very. But no one has ever challenged it openly. The Council has always crushed resistance before it could spread." Admiral Chen frowned. "You're thinking about saying no, aren't you?" Maria didn't answer immediately. She walked to the window. Even deep underground, there was a small window that showed a video feed of the surface. She could see the sky, the stars, the alien ships blocking them out. My grandmother fought in the water wars. Maria said softly. When I was little, I asked her if she was ever afraid. She said fear is normal, but there are some things worth being afraid for. And some things worth dying for. She turned back to face the room. If we accept these terms, humanity becomes a slave species forever. Our children will grow up paying tribute to aliens who think we're nothing. Our grandchildren will forget what freedom even means. But if we refuse, they'll destroy us, the foreign minister protested. Maybe, Maria agreed, but maybe not. Maybe they're not expecting resistance. Maybe they're not as prepared for a real fight as they think. Admiral Chen pulled up more tactical data. Our ships are smaller, faster. We've been developing some experimental technology, AI-guided drones, stealth systems, weapons they might not expect. We can't win a stand-up fight, but we might be able to make them bleed. Bleed? Someone asked. What good does that do if we're all dead? Maria smiled grimly. It does good for every other species watching. Every other tributary race that's been paying and suffering for centuries. If they see us make the council bleed, they'll start to wonder. They'll start to hope. They might start to resist. That's a hell of a gamble, Chen said. I know. The room fell silent. Everyone understood what they were discussing. The fate of humanity. The fate of billions of people. All resting on one decision. We need to vote, Maria said. Every person in this room. Not just the politicians. Everyone, because this affects everyone. She looked around. If we refuse the council's demands, we will probably go to war. Many of us will die. Maybe all of us, but we will die free. If we accept, we live as slaves. Maybe comfortable slaves, but slaves nonetheless. She paused, letting it sink in. Think carefully. Then vote. The vote took 20 minutes. When it was done, Maria looked at the results. 43 votes to refuse. 7 votes to accept. Her hands trembled slightly as she input her own vote. 44 to refuse. Send a message to the council, Maria ordered. Tell them we request a formal session to deliver our response. All standard diplomatic protocols. They're going to expect us to surrender, Chen said. I know, Maria replied. Let them expect it. Let them be comfortable. Let them be arrogant. She pulled up the communication line to all Earth's colonies. Millions of humans on dozens of worlds, all watching. All waiting. All afraid. People of Earth and our colonies, Maria began. You've seen the Council's demands. You know what they want from us. In 72 hours, I will stand before them and deliver our answer. I ask only that you trust your leaders, trust each other, and remember who we are. She took a breath. We are humans. We have survived everything this universe has thrown at us, and we will survive this too, however it ends. Stay strong. The transmission ended. Maria sat down heavily. She suddenly felt very tired. Very old. Are we doing the right thing? She asked Chen quietly. The Admiral looked at the ceiling, at the rock and earth between them and the alien fleet above. I don't know, he admitted. But it's the human thing, and maybe that's all that matters. Outside, across Earth and all the colonies, people watched the alien ships and waited. Some prayed, some prepared, some simply held their loved ones close, and above them all, the Council fleet waited too. Patient, confident, certain that these primitive humans would bow, like every other species before them. They had no idea what was coming. Humanity's one-word response to the Council's tribute demand stuns the galaxy. The Council chamber orbited Zenthar Prime, the oldest inhabited world in the galaxy. The structure was ancient, built before humans had even discovered fire. It was massive, large enough to hold representatives from all 47 Council species and their support staff. Thousands of beings filled the chamber. Maria Santos walked through the entrance corridor alone. She had refused an entourage. No guards, no advisors. Just her, wearing the simple dress uniform of Earth's diplomatic corps. Dark blue with silver trim. No weapons, no recording devices. Nothing except her courage. The corridor walls were transparent, showing the planet below and the stars beyond. She could see hundreds of alien ships in orbit. The Council's capital was the most defended place in the galaxy. She was walking into the heart of enemy territory. An insect-like being approached her. It had multiple eyes and delicate wings that shimmered in the light. Secretary General Santos, it clicked softly. I am Ambassador Tefral of the Luminal people. I wanted to speak with you before the session. Maria stopped. She had studied the Council species during the flight here. The Luminals were a tributary species, conquered 800 years ago. They were known for being peaceful, artistic, philosophical. "You should not do what you are planning," Tefral said. His wings fluttered nervously. "I have seen Velquin destroy entire civilizations for less offense than this. Please accept the terms. Your people will survive." "As slaves," Maria said quietly. "As living beings," Tefral countered. "There is no shame in bowing to superior force. My people learned this. We were warriors once. We fought the Council for 30 years. We lost billions. In the end, we paid the tribute anyway. All we gained from resistance was death and suffering." Maria studied the alien. She could see genuine concern in his multifaceted eyes. "Why are you telling me this?" "Because I have read about humans. You are unusual, creative, stubborn. I would hate to see such an interesting species exterminated." He paused. "Because I remember what it felt like to be free. Before we bowed. I remember, and it still hurts." Maria touched his shoulder gently. The ambassador flinched, then relaxed. "Thank you for the warning, Ambassador. And for remembering," she walked on. Tefral watched her go, his wings drooping sadly. The chamber itself was breathtaking. The ceiling soared hundreds of meters high. Floating platforms held representatives from each species. Some platforms were in water, for aquatic beings. Others were in methane atmospheres or vacuum. Technology kept each species comfortable in their own environment. At the center was the speaker's platform. Velquin stood there, towering over everything. His crystalline form caught the light and threw rainbow patterns across the chamber. Around him, the other elder species gathered. The Kresh Dominion, reptilian beings with dark scales and cold eyes. The Hive Collective, insectoids that moved as one mind. The Zaltec, beings of pure energy contained in magnetic fields. These were the species that had ruled for millennia. The Conquerors. The Tribute Takers. The Masters of the Galaxy. Maria walked to the central platform designated for her. She stood straight, her hands clasped behind her back. Military posture. She looked up at Velquin without fear. Billions of beings across the galaxy watched. Every civilized world was broadcasting this moment. The young species coming to bow before the council. It happened every few decades. It was always the same. "Human," Velquin's voice boomed through the chamber. "You requested this formal session to deliver your response. The council grants you the honor of speaking before us. You will accept the tributary accords. You will surrender your fleet. You will accept our governors. Say the words and this unpleasantness ends." Maria looked around the chamber slowly. She saw the elder species, smug and confident. She saw the tributary species, watching with pity or resignation. She saw Tefral on his platform, his wings still. She thought about Earth, about the blue oceans and green forests, about her childhood in Brazil playing in the rain, about her granddaughter, who was 3 years old and loved to draw pictures of spaceships. She thought about Admiral Chen and his 400 ships, waiting near Mars, about the colonists on New Dublin and Proxima Station, about the millions of humans scattered across a dozen worlds, all watching this moment. She thought about Tefral's words. His people had fought for 30 years and lost. But they had fought. They had resisted. For 30 years they had been free. Maria took a deep breath. No. The word was quiet, calm, final. For a moment, no one reacted. The translation systems took a second to process. Surely there was an error. Surely she had said something else. Then the meaning hit. The chamber erupted. "What?" Velquin's voice crackled with disbelief. "What did you say?" Maria didn't repeat herself. She simply turned and walked toward the exit. "Stop!" Velquin's shout shook the chamber. Energy crackled around his crystalline form. "You dare refuse the council? You dare walk away?" Maria kept walking. She didn't run. She didn't hurry. She walked with dignity, her head high. Behind her, chaos reigned. Representatives were shouting in 100 languages. Some were laughing, thinking it was a joke. Others were furious. The Kresh Dominion delegate was roaring challenges. The Hive Collective buzzed with agitation. On his platform, Tefral stared with his multiple eyes wide. His wings trembled. Then slowly he began to flutter them in applause. In luminal culture, it was a gesture of respect. A few other tributary species noticed. Some joined in hesitantly. Maria reached the corridor. Behind her, Velquin was calling for order. His voice was loud enough to rattle the walls. "This is an outrage. A violation of galactic law. The human species is hereby declared in contempt of the council. They have 72 hours to reconsider. If they do not, we will enforce compliance with military action. Other voices joined in. The Kresh Dominion offered their fleet immediately. Let us crush them, the reptilian delegate hissed. Make them an example. Show the galaxy what happens to defiance. Agreed, said the Hive Collective. This cannot stand. If other species see this, they may get ideas. We must act swiftly and brutally. The elder species voted quickly. It was unanimous. The Council would send an enforcement fleet. 3,000 warships, enough to crush Earth's 400 ships 10 times over. In the corridor, Maria finally allowed herself to shake. Her legs felt weak. She leaned against the wall for a moment, breathing hard. She had just sentenced her species to war, possibly to extinction. Her communicator buzzed. It was Admiral Chen. We saw it, ma'am. The whole fleet saw it. The whole Earth saw it. He paused. That was the bravest thing I've ever witnessed. Or the stupidest, Maria said. Maybe both, Chen agreed. The Council is mobilizing. We're tracking 3,000 ships heading our way. They'll be in human space in 4 days. Are we ready? As ready as we'll ever be. The experimental weapons are deployed. The drone swarms are activated. Our stealth platforms are in position. He paused again. Maria, we can't win this. You know that, right? I know, she said quietly. But we can make them pay for it. We can show the galaxy that humans don't bow. Understood. Chen out. Maria straightened up and continued walking. As she exited the orbital station, she saw Earth's small diplomatic shuttle waiting. Beyond it, the stars stretched endlessly. On Earth, the reaction was mixed. Some people panicked. They tried to flee, though there was nowhere to go. Others prepared for war. Factories went into overdrive, producing weapons and ships. The military called up every reserve. But most people just went about their lives. They went to work. They had dinner with their families. They played with their children. They loved and laughed and lived, because that's what humans do. Even facing death, they lived. On the colonies, the response was even more defiant. New Dublin's governor sent a message. We stand with Earth, let them come. Proxima Station began evacuating civilians, but the defense force refused to leave. This is our home. We'll defend it. Across human space, that single word spread. No. It became a rallying cry, a symbol, a promise. In the council chamber, the elder species finished their deliberations. Velquin issued the final order. Send the enforcement fleet. Show no mercy. If they will not bow, they will break. But on his platform, Ambassador Tefral was thinking. His people had said no 800 years ago. They had fought for 30 years. They had lost. But they had been free for 30 years. And before they were free, no one remembered them. After they fought, everyone knew the Luminals. They were remembered. Maybe, he thought, maybe there are worse things than losing. Maybe being forgotten is worse. Maybe dying free is better than living as a slave. He looked at the other tributary species. Many were thinking the same thing. He could see it in their eyes, their postures, their energy fields. The humans had said no. And deep in the hearts of 100 enslaved species, a tiny spark of hope began to glow. A dangerous spark, the kind that starts fires. The galaxy would never be the same. Humanity's one-word response to the Council's tribute demand stuns the galaxy commander Zal Teth of the Kresh Dominion stood on the bridge of his flagship, the Worldbreaker. Around him, 3,000 Council warships hung in space like a metal storm. This was the largest military force assembled in 50 years. It was complete overkill for dealing with a primitive human colony. He studied the tactical display. New Constantinople, a human mining colony on the edge of their territory. Population 40,000. Defenses minimal. The humans had 30 ships guarding the system, 30 against 3,000. This is almost insulting, his second-in-command hissed. She was a young Kresh, her scales still bright green. We could destroy this colony with 100 ships. Why send 3,000? Because we're not just destroying a colony, Zalteth explained. We're making a statement. When word spreads of what happens here, every tributary species will remember their place. Fear is the Council's greatest weapon. He had studied the human ships carefully. They were small, primitive things. Chemical rockets and basic railguns. Their shields were weak. Their armor was thin. According to Council intelligence, humans had only discovered faster-than-light travel 15 years ago. They were babies playing with technology they barely understood. All ships advance in standard formation. Zalteth ordered. Weapons free. If they don't surrender in 5 minutes, we open fire. The fleet moved forward, a wall of metal and energy. Each ship was 10 times larger than the human vessels. Each had weapons that could crack planets. The humans didn't stand a chance. On the human ships, Admiral Chen watched the Council fleet approach. He was commanding from the bridge of the EDF Defiance, one of Earth's newest destroyers. Around him, his crew worked quietly, efficiently. No panic, no fear, just focused determination. They're using a standard advancement formation, his tactical officer reported. Dense center, lighter wings. Classic Council strategy from their last dozen conflicts. Of course they are, Chen said. Why change what works? He activated fleet-wide communications. All ships hold position. Wait for my signal. Stealth platforms, stand by. The Council fleet crossed the outer marker of the system. Zalteth opened a channel to the human ships. Human vessels, this is Commander Zalteth of the Galactic Council Enforcement Fleet. You are in violation of Council law. Surrender immediately, and you will be treated as prisoners of war. Resist and we will show no mercy, Chen smiled grimly. This is Admiral James Chen of the Earth Defense Force. I have a message from humanity to the Galactic Council. Speak, Zalteth commanded. No. Zalteth bared his teeth. So be it. You have chosen death. He cut the channel and raised his claw to give the attack order. Before he could speak, his sensor officer shouted a warning. Commander, multiple contacts. Behind us! Impossible, Zalteth snapped. We have the humans in front of us. Their ships are all... The tactical display lit up like a nightmare. Hundreds of new contacts appeared, materializing from nowhere. They had been there all along, hidden by stealth technology that the Council sensors couldn't detect. What are those? The second-in-command demanded. They weren't ships. They were platforms. Weapons platforms studded with missile launchers and railguns. Each one was small, barely the size of a shuttle. But there were hundreds of them, scattered through space around and behind the Council fleet. Point defense systems, Zalteth roared. Target those platforms! But it was already too late. The platforms opened fire, not with energy weapons that the Council shields could deflect. With missiles. Thousands of missiles. Small, fast missiles that accelerated to incredible speeds. The Council had fought energy weapon wars for centuries. Their shields were designed to deflect lasers and plasma bolts. They were not designed for kinetic projectiles moving at 90% of light speed. The first missiles hit. Shields did nothing. Armor did nothing. The projectiles punched through Council ships like paper. Each impact released energy equivalent to a nuclear bomb. Ships didn't explode dramatically. They simply came apart, shredded by relativistic impacts. Evasive maneuvers, Zalteth shouted. Return fire! But the platforms were too small, too fast, too many. The Council ships were massive, powerful, but also slow. They had relied on shields and armor to protect them. When those failed, they had nothing. More missiles launched. The platforms were autonomous, controlled by human artificial intelligence. The Council had banned AI warfare 2,000 years ago, after a war that nearly destroyed civilization. It was considered barbaric, unethical, terrifying. The humans didn't care about Council ethics. Drone swarms joined the attack. Thousands of small autonomous craft, each carrying explosives. They swarmed the Council ships like angry insects. Point defense systems tried to shoot them down, but there were too many. They overwhelmed the defenses through sheer numbers. Explosions bloomed across the Council formation. Ships tumbled, venting atmosphere and fire. Zalteth's bridge rocked from a near miss. Alarm screamed. Status report, he demanded. We've lost 800 ships, his tactical officer reported, his voice thick with disbelief. 800 ships in 15 minutes. Impossible. They only have 30 ships. The platforms, Commander. And the drones. They're using technology we don't have defenses against. On the Defiance, Chen watched the battle unfold. Ceasefire, he ordered. Let them run. The missile barrage stopped. The Council fleet was in chaos. Ships collided with each other, trying to retreat. Others fired wildly at nothing. Zalteth managed to restore some order, pulling his surviving ships back. Retreat, he commanded. Full speed. Get us out of this system. The Council fleet fled. Behind them, New Constantinople remained unharmed. The 30 human ships hadn't fired a single shot. They hadn't needed to. Within hours, the battle footage spread across the galaxy. Every species saw it. The mighty Council fleet. humiliated and broken by primitive humans using forbidden technology. On Zenthar Prime, Velquin watched the recording in stunned silence. Around him, other council elders were shouting, arguing, demanding explanations. How did our intelligence fail so completely? The Hive Collective demanded. We were told humans had conventional weapons only. They hid their development, Velquin said slowly. His crystalline form pulsed with dark colors. For 15 years, they prepared for this. They knew we would come eventually. They prepared. Artificial intelligence, the Zaltec representative said, its energy form flickering. They're using AI warfare. That's forbidden. That's effective, Velquin interrupted. They don't care about our laws. They never signed our treaties. He paused. They never intended to bow. On the tributary worlds, the reaction was different. In the luminal colonies, people gathered in public spaces to watch the battle recording. They watched in silence as the humans made the council bleed. Ambassador Tefral stood among his people. Around him, luminals were crying. Not from sadness, from something else. Something they hadn't felt in 800 years. Hope. They won, someone whispered. The humans won. One battle, Tefral cautioned. The council has 15,000 more ships. This isn't over. But they won, another luminal insisted. No one has ever beaten a council enforcement fleet, no one. And these humans destroyed 800 ships without losing a single vessel. The murmuring grew. On other tributary worlds, similar conversations were happening. The Quatar, amphibious beings who had been paying tribute for 600 years. The Muldar, mammalian creatures conquered 5 centuries ago. The Shentai, crystalline beings subjugated for 900 years. They all watched. They all wondered. If the humans could say no, could they? On Earth, the victory was celebrated, but carefully. Maria Santos addressed the planet. We won a battle, not the war. The Council has more ships, more resources, more experience. This will get worse before it gets better. But we showed them something today. We showed them that humans fight smart, not just hard. And we showed them that we will not bow. Admiral Chen was already planning the next moves. They'll come again, he told his staff. With more ships. More caution. They know about our stealth tech now. They know about the drones and the kinetic missiles. They'll adapt. So will we, his tactical officer said. We have more surprises ready, Chen nodded. Good, because that victory cost us nothing. The next one will cost us dearly, and the one after that even more. Eventually, they'll overwhelm us through sheer numbers. But until then, we make them pay for every inch. Across human space, people prepared. Factories worked day and night. Scientists developed new weapons. Engineers built new ships. Civilians trained for evacuation or resistance. But something else was happening too, something the Council didn't notice at first. Encrypted messages began flowing between tributary worlds, quiet conversations in hidden places, secret meetings in dark corners of space stations. Ambassador Tefral found himself contacted by old friends. People he hadn't spoken to in decades, all asking the same questions. How did the humans do it? Could it be done again? Would the luminals stand with them if it came to war? He didn't answer, not yet. It was too dangerous. But he thought about it. Oh, how he thought about it. On Zenthar Prime, Velquin made his decision. Mobilize the core fleets. I want 15,000 ships ready within the week. We will not send another enforcement fleet. Humanity's one-word response to the Council's tribute demand stuns the galaxy. The colony of New Dublin burned. From orbit, Admiral Chen could see the fires spreading across the main settlement. The Council had learned from their first defeat. This time they came prepared. How many people did we evacuate? Chen asked quietly. 32,000, his communications officer replied. We lost 8,000. They couldn't reach the shelters in time. Chen closed his eyes for a moment. 8,000 people. Men, women, children. Gone. New Dublin had been a farming colony, peaceful and green. Now it was ash. The Council fleet is moving to Proxima Station, Tactical reported. Same strategy. Overwhelming numbers, bombardment from maximum range. They're not letting our ships get close. Chen nodded grimly. After New Constantinople, the Council had adapted. They kept their distance now. They used long-range bombardment instead of close engagement. They targeted planets directly, forcing the human fleet to choose between defending or attacking. It was working. Humanity was losing. Pull back to Proxima, Chen ordered. We'll make them pay for it. But even as he gave the order, he knew the truth. They couldn't win this way. The Council had 15,000 ships now. Earth had built their fleet up to 600, but it wasn't enough. Not nearly enough. The Battle of Proxima Station lasted 3 days. The human defenders fought desperately. They used every trick, every advantage. Chen personally led a strike group that destroyed a Council command carrier. The victory felt hollow when Proxima's orbital infrastructure fell, raining debris onto the colony below. In the end, humanity abandoned Proxima. The survivors fled on transport ships, protected by the defense fleet. The Council claimed victory, but they had lost over 1,000 ships in the battle, and the humans had saved most of the civilian population. On Earth, Maria Santos addressed the planet once again. She looked tired now. There were dark circles under her eyes, but her voice remained strong. We have lost 2 colonies. Thousands of our people have died. The Council is winning the war in space. I will not lie to you. This is harder than we hoped, more costly than we imagined. But we are still here. We are still fighting, and we will not surrender. Not everyone agreed. Protests erupted in major cities. People demanded negotiation. Some called for Maria's resignation. End this madness, they shouted. Accept the tribute. Save what we can, but others rallied. They said no. Became a protest chant of its own. We don't bow. We don't break. Admiral Chen shifted strategy. If they couldn't defend the colonies in open battle, they would fight differently. Hit and run. Guerrilla warfare. Make every Council victory expensive. Human strike groups began appearing deep in Council territory. 3 ships would materialize near a supply convoy, destroy it, and vanish before reinforcements arrived. Council troop transports started disappearing. Supply lines became dangerous. The Council fleet grew paranoid. They traveled in large groups now, always on alert. They scanned constantly for stealth ships. But the humans were patient. They waited for opportunities. They struck where it hurt. On the human ship Nighthawk, Captain Sarah Kim led one of these strike groups. She had been a freight pilot before the war. Now she commanded a stealth destroyer with a crew of 42. Target identified, her sensor officer said. Council fuel depot lightly defended. 6 patrol ships. Sarah studied the tactical plot. The depot supplied Council fleets operating in the region. Destroy it, and they would have to pull back to refuel. It would buy time. How long until their reinforcements arrive if we're detected? 20 minutes. Then we have 15 minutes to work. She activated fleet communications. This is Nighthawk. All ships weapons free. Hit the patrol ships first, then the depot. Quick and quiet. The 3 human ships dropped out of stealth simultaneously. Their missiles were already launching before the Council ships realized they were under attack. 4 patrol ships died in the first salvo. The remaining 2 managed to send a distress signal before they too were destroyed. Target the fuel tanks, Sarah ordered. Make it count. Missiles slammed into the depot. Fuel ignited in spectacular explosions. The depot came apart, pieces tumbling through space. Enemy reinforcements incoming, Tactical warned. Multiple signatures. At least 20 ships. Time to go, Sarah said calmly. Jump on my mark. 3, 2, 1 mark. The human ships vanished. When the Council reinforcements arrived, they found only wreckage and radiation. This happened everywhere. Council forces bled from 1,000 small cuts. They couldn't catch the human raiders. They couldn't predict where they would strike next. The war that was supposed to be over in weeks dragged into months, but the Council was still winning. For every ship humanity destroyed, they lost 1 too, and the Council could replace their losses. Humanity couldn't. On Zenthar Prime, Velquin convened an emergency session. The tribute system is failing, he announced. His crystalline form pulsed with dark reds, a sign of agitation. 12 tributary species have stopped payments. 3 have refused to send their conscript fleets. This human rebellion is spreading. Then we crush the tributaries too, the Kresh representative snarled. Make examples of them all. With what forces? Velquin demanded. We have 15,000 ships committed to fighting humans. Now you want to split our fleet to punish other species. We would be fighting on 50 fronts. Then end the human war quickly, suggested the Hive Collective. Use overwhelming force. Destroy Earth itself. Show everyone what happens to rebels. Velquin considered this. The other elders muttered among themselves. Finally he spoke. Prepare the Sol assault fleet. 5,000 ships. We will lay siege to Earth. When their homeworld falls, the human spirit will break. But even as he gave the order, he felt something he had never felt before. Doubt. The humans should have broken already, should have surrendered, should have begged for mercy. Instead, they kept fighting, kept bleeding as fleets, kept inspiring others to resist. What if Earth fell and they still didn't surrender? What if the humans fought from their colonies? What if they never stopped? He pushed the thought away. Earth would fall, and with it humanity's resistance. Meanwhile, Ambassador Tefral was having secret meetings of his own. In a hidden room on a remote station, he met with representatives from 11 other tributary species. The humans contacted me, he told them. They shared intelligence about the Council's economy. The whole system depends on tribute payments. If enough species stop paying, the Council can't afford to maintain their fleets. Their technology, their infrastructure. They already know we're not paying, said a Quatar delegate, her amphibious skin glistening with nervous moisture. They'll send punishment fleets. Let them, Tefral said. They're overextended. Their forces are scattered fighting humans. We have thousands of ships in conscript fleets, supposedly serving the Council. What if we use those ships to defend ourselves instead? Silence fell over the room. What he was suggesting was treason. Rebellion on a massive scale? You're talking about all-out war, someone said. We're already in a war, Tefral replied. The humans started it, but we can join it. Together we have the numbers. The Council rules through fear, but fear only works when you believe the enemy is invincible. The humans proved they're not. The humans are losing, another delegate pointed out. They're losing, Tefral agreed, but they're taking the Council down with them. Every battle costs the Council ships they can't replace. Every defeat inspires more resistance, and the humans sent me a message. They said even if Earth falls, they won't surrender. They'll fight from the colonies, fight until there's nothing left, and they asked if we would stand with them. If we fight and lose, our species die, the Quatar said. We're dying anyway, Tefral replied quietly. Slowly, our cultures are being erased. Our children grow up as subjects, not citizens. In 100 years, no one will remember what we were. At least this way, if we die free. And maybe, just maybe, we win. The delegates looked at each other. Centuries of oppression weighed against one chance at freedom. Fear against hope. One by one, they nodded. On Earth, Admiral Chen received a coded message. It was from Ambassador Tefral. Just 2 words. We're coming. Chen felt something he hadn't felt in months. A flicker of hope. He forwarded the message to Maria Santos. She read it 3 times. Then she activated her secure line to Chen. Can we trust them? I don't know, Chen admitted. But we're running out of options. The Council fleet is 3 days from Earth. We have 400 ships left. They have 5,000. Without help, we lose. With help, we might still lose. Yes, Chen agreed. But at least we won't die alone. Maria laughed, a sound without much humor. I've been sending messages to the colonies. Ordering evacuations. Preparing for Earth's fall. And now you tell me we might have allies? Might, Chen emphasized. Tefral didn't say how many, or when, or if they'll actually fight. But it's something. Maria looked out her window at the sky. She could see Council ships there now, the advanced scouts of the coming fleet. In 3 days, the real battle would begin. Tell the fleet to prepare, she said. If the tributaries come, we'll need to coordinate. If they don't, she paused. If they don't, we make our last stand count. We make them remember humanity. They'll remember, Chen promised. The whole galaxy is watching. We've already changed everything. Humanity's one-word response to the Council's tribute demand stuns the galaxy. 5,000 Council warships surrounded Earth like a metal storm. Admiral Chen watched them from the bridge of the Defiance, now flagship of humanity's remaining fleet. 400 human ships, against 5,000. The odds had been better at New Constantinople. That felt like a lifetime ago. They're taking their time, his tactical officer observed. Building the siege formation. They want this to be perfect. They want it to be a show, Chen corrected. Every species in the galaxy is watching. Felquin wants everyone to see Earth fall. On the surface, cities had been evacuated underground. The elderly, the children, the injured, anyone who couldn't fight. That still left millions on the surface. Volunteers manning defense platforms, engineers maintaining shields, soldiers at their posts. They all knew what was coming. Maria Santos broadcast one final message. To Earth, to the colonies, to every human scattered across the stars. People of Earth and her children beyond. In a few hours, the battle begins. I won't lie to you. We will probably lose. The Council has more ships, more weapons, more of everything. Except one thing. They don't have our spirit. They don't have our refusal to bow. Win or lose, we have shown the galaxy that humans stand for something. We stand for freedom. We stand for dignity. We stand because we will not kneel. And if we fall today, we fall knowing that we mattered. That our defiance meant something. That somewhere, someone watched us and found courage. That is enough. That has to be enough. She paused, looking at the camera. To my granddaughter, Maria Elena, who is 3 years old and safe in the Colorado bunkers. Abuela loves you. Remember that your grandmother fought for your freedom. Remember that humans said no. And remember that some things are worth dying for. The transmission ended. Maria sat back in her chair, tears on her cheeks. She was done lying. They were all going to die. But they would die free. In space, Velquin opened communications with Admiral Chen. The crystalline being's form filled the screen, pulsing with confident colors. Admiral Chen, I respected your courage at New Constantinople. I respected your tactics. But this ends now. Surrender Earth and I will spare your people. You will become tributaries, yes. But you will live. Continue this madness and I will turn your homeworld into glass and ash. You have 1 hour to decide. Chen looked at the alien for a long moment. Then he smiled. You know what our answer is. You've always known. You came here anyway because you're afraid. Afraid that if we keep resisting, others will too. You're right to be afraid. 1 hour, Velquin repeated. Then we fire. The channel closed. Chen turned to his crew. All ships, battle stations. This is it. Make every shot count. Make them pay for every meter of space. And remember, we're not just fighting for Earth. We're fighting for everyone who ever wanted to be free. The hour passed slowly. Council ships moved into bombardment positions. Human ships took defensive stances. On Earth's surface, people held hands, prayed, or simply looked up at the sky one last time. The Council fleet opened fire. Energy beams lanced down from orbit. Earth's shields flared bright, holding for now. Human ships moved to intercept, their smaller size letting them slip between the massive Council vessels. Missiles launched. Railguns fired. The space around Earth became a storm of fire and metal. Chen's fleet fought brilliantly. They used every advantage, every trick. But there were just too many Council ships. For every enemy they destroyed, 3 more took its place. The Defiance shook from a direct hit. Shields at 40%, the engineer called out. Keep us in the fight, Chen ordered. On his tactical display, he watched human ships winking out. Destroyed, damaged, retreating. His fleet was dying. Then his communications officer shouted, Sir, new contacts, multiple FTL signatures. Chen's heart sank. Reinforcements for the Council. It was over, but the officer was smiling. Sir, they're not Council signatures. Their space tore open. Ships poured through. Thousands of them. But these weren't the massive Council warships. These were smaller vessels, varied designs, ships from dozens of different species. At their head flew the Luminal Fleet, 2,000 ships with Ambassador Tefral commanding from his flagship. Behind them came the Quatar, then the Moldar, then species Chen didn't even recognize. Fleet after fleet emerging from FTL. Tefral's voice came over the open channel. Admiral Chen, the Luminal people stand with humanity. As do our friends. We're done bowing. We say no. Chen felt tears on his face. Ambassador Tefral, I never thought. We're honored to fight beside you. The honor is ours, Admiral. Your species showed us that resistance is possible. Now let us show the Council what happens when slaves remember their warriors. The tide of battle shifted instantly. The Council fleet found themselves surrounded. Velquin tried to rally his forces, but chaos reigned. Ships from a dozen tributary species were attacking. And they knew Council weaknesses intimately. They had served in Council fleets for centuries. More ships arrived. Species that humanity had never even heard of. All coming to join the fight. All saying the same thing, no more tribute. No more bowing. No more slavery. On his flagship, Velquin watched his perfect siege fall apart. This is treason, he roared. All of you will pay for this. The Council will hunt you down. We will destroy every world, every colony, The Council is finished. Tefral interrupted calmly. Look around you, Velquin. We outnumber you now. And unlike you, we fight for our freedom. Not for tribute. Not for power. For freedom. That makes us dangerous. The Kresh Dominion fleet, seeing the odds change, began pulling back. The reptilian commander opened a channel to Velquin. "This is not our fight anymore. We will not die for council pride. Kresh vessels withdraw." One by one, other council species followed. The Insectoid Hive Collective, the energy beings of Zaltec. Even species that had been part of the council for centuries looked at the odds and chose retreat over extinction. Velquin found himself alone with only his own species, ships, and a handful of loyalists. "1,000 ships against 10,000, you cowards!" he screamed at the retreating council fleets. "Come back, fight!" But they didn't. The council, that ancient alliance that had ruled for millennia, broke apart in a single battle. Fear had held it together. And once fear failed, there was nothing left. Chen's voice came over the open channel. "Velquin, it's over. Surrender your forces. This doesn't have to end with more death." "Surrender?" Velquin's form pulsed with furious reds and blacks. "Never. If I die knowing I was right." The council brought order to chaos. "We brought peace to the galaxy. Without us there will be war and suffering, and a luminal ship fired. Then a Quatar vessel. Then a human destroyer." Velquin's flagship tried to flee, but it was too late. The ship broke apart under concentrated fire. The Speaker of the Galactic Council died, still believing he was right. The remaining council loyalists surrendered quickly after that. The battle was over. On Earth, people emerged from bunkers to see the sky filled with friendly ships. Ships from species they'd never met. All there because humanity had said no. The celebration was tempered by grief. The final count: 2 million humans dead, 300 ships destroyed, 2 colonies lost. The price had been terrible, but they had won. In the weeks that followed, the galaxy reorganized. The old council dissolved, torn apart by recriminations and blame. The species that had formed its core retreated to their homeworlds, diminished and humbled. A new alliance formed instead. The Free Species Coalition. No tribute, no forced conscription, no conquered peoples. Just voluntary cooperation between equals. 31 species joined in the first month. By the end of the year, it was over 60. Species that had been tributaries for centuries were free. Young species who would have been conquered were now partners. Maria Santos was elected the first Secretary General of the Free Species Coalition. She accepted reluctantly. "I wanted to retire," she told Chen. "Maybe spend time with my granddaughter." "Teach her to paint." "You can still do that," Chen said. "Just between diplomatic meetings with 100 alien species." She laughed. It felt good to laugh again. Chen became commander of the Coalition Defense Force, a truly multi-species military where humans, luminals, Quatar, and dozens of others served together. Not as master and servant, as equals. Ambassador Tefral was honored by the coalition. The luminal species, once considered weak and conquered, were now remembered as the first to stand with humanity. Tefral himself became a legend, the ambassador who risked everything for freedom. On a quiet evening, Maria visited the memorial built on Earth's orbital platform. Names carved in stone. 2 million names. People who died so others could be free. She found her friend Chen standing there looking at the names. "Do you think it was worth it?" she asked quietly. Chen was silent for a moment. "Ask me in 100 years. When the children of all these freed species grow up never knowing slavery, when the idea of tribute payment seems like ancient history, ask me then. I won't be alive in 100 years, then ask your granddaughter. Ask her if living in a galaxy where species stand as equals was worth the price. I think she'll say yes," Maria nodded slowly. "I hope so. I really hope so." They stood together in silence, honoring the dead. Behind them, the stars stretched endlessly.